I also find the concept of critical reflection very important to the field of science. Science is not rote learning. It allows us to take new ideas, build them onto new concepts, and create something new. It needs to be a fluid and dynamic sort of process, and if we don't understand the past and bring these forward, then we'll never actually move the field of science forward. Science is actually the implementation of reflective learning because the field of science is constantly changing. Every fact needs to be questioned, re-examined, and put forward in the current context. There are many biases that we have as people, cultural and personal, and those actually do play into our understanding of science. So it is really critical that we reflect on these and reflect on how they affect our opinions and perceptions and actually the process and the method of science. It's a very difficult field. I don't think students like to be philosophers. Many undergraduate courses train you to be just simply rote, to have the answer and to give that. And science is the ultimate example of a field where you can't do that. It's not, the textbook that you're reading is wrong. If it wasn't written today, it probably has something in it that is no longer accepted. And I think that is, since it is such a fluid field, it is the perfect one for reflective learning. And it's something that actually needs to be incorporated throughout the science, particularly as we address moral and ethical questions around how we deal with the environment and deal with animals and deal with each other in social settings. We actually use sort of a series of different ways to encourage the student to reflect, and one of them is a journal. And it's not meant to be, and again I struggle away from the personal journal, but the idea of you've read this article, it means something to you, means something to the broader science. Bring together your thoughts on how this fits in with our framework, with our understanding. What does it mean for the science? What does it mean for the field? And I think that really encourages the student to then remember what they've read as opposed to trying to pick out the rote things that they need to fill in the bubbles. But also, again, allows them to have their own sort of personal ideas. And I don't collect the journals, nor do I grade them. I sort of ask them to bring them and to make notes and sort of to share them with me in a more informal way. And again, we have sort of these informal meetings once a week where we discuss a paper, where we discuss the experiments, where we discuss the field of science and where it's going. And again, that is very revealing about the way that the students approach science and what they're thinking about their own careers, how they fit into the field. And it's a really good way to show their sort of learning process across the semester from the very first conversations, which are very tentative, to the end where they're very in-depth and they're very engaged, and you really see a dynamic interaction with what they're learning. And I think that's actually probably the best way, and it only works with a very small class. Clearly it's not going to work with 60 students.